everyone. Welcome to episode 3 of SatAMHedgehogs. I'm your host, Verite, and with me, as always, is my lovely wife and co-host,
Natalie Ruby Graves.
And today we're going to be watching episode 3 of SatAM, of course.
Sonic Saturday... No,
just called Sonic the Hedgehog.
It's called Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
Colloquial known as Sonic SatAM.
Or Saturday morning. Yeah, it's ultrasonic. And I do just want to get ahead of this. I know we said it last episode. You heard it in the middle. But I am sorry about the audio quality of the last one and the small mistake we made. Hopefully there won't be too many more of those. But there definitely will be some issues.
That audio thing was a whole thing.
Yeah, it was rough. It was rough, guys. So, anyway, like we did last episode, I'm gonna... Just to, spice things up, I'm going to ask a question to our co-host.
And our guests when we eventually have them.
Yeah, if we have guests. I mean, we have a couple friends who probably wouldn't mind doing this. But yeah, I'll ask a question and we'll talk about it for a little bit. Hopefully not too long. So the question I came up with for today, we're still pretty early on. Who's your favorite Sonic the Hedgehog character?
Interesting. Well, while I think about that, why don't you say yours?
My favorite Sonic the Hedgehog character, really, it's so split. Like I have so many favorites. If I had to say one favorite, it would not to be like too basic. It would probably be Sonic.
He is a dude with tude. I don't blame you.
Yeah, design wise, there's a couple up there. E102, I love E102 Gamma.
Yeah.
He's really cool looking. His story is great. Shard, the Metal Sonic. From the comics much later, looks really cool. So yeah, but honestly, I'd probably say Sonic. Although that's sort of a cheap out answer because he's changed so much over the years. But I'm saying adventure era. That's probably
yeah. I don't blame.
Although
you.
I do like a lot of those classic designs too.
If I had to pick one, the one that's just like screaming in my head, I this one popped up first, and I bounced around some other ones. I'm like, no, it's not that, and I just tried some other ones. I think it's got to be Blaze the Cat.
Blaze the Cat? Really?
Yeah, a little, not as obscure a pull as say Shard, whoever that is, but a more obscure pull. But yeah, no, I thought she was really really cool. One of the first Sonic games that I ever really 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 enjoyed was Sonic Rush.
Oh, the first Sonic Rush game?
The first Sonic Rush
I just
on
played
DS.
through that not too long ago. It's super cool. In fact, I'm like halfway through Blaze's story.
Yeah, that's the one with the Malcolm X quote, isn't it?
It's one of the Rush games, yeah. It's used as a sample for one of the songs. And I know you, the viewer at home, can't look up. You were wondering who Shard, the Metal Sonic, is. I would Google it online, but I'm going to show our co-host here. It's a little cropped.
Oh, that's pretty cool. It's like, what if
here he is on a cover.
What if Metal Sonic made out with bass from Mega Man?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that made a baby, because that's how babies are made.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I think he was one of the Metal Sonic. Don't quote me on this, but I think he's a Metal Sonic that got thrown into like a volcano or something, and then was recovered. And they repaired him, and he sort of became sentient in his own person. So we're gonna hop right in, unless there was anything else you wanted to say.
I think that about covers it. We should come up with a little jingle for your question. It can be like Verite's Question Corner or something like that. Send in your jingles.
I mean, if you want. This is not a promise that it will be on the show.
Yeah, no, we can't include all submissions.
Or possibly any of them.
Verite's Question Corner. Verite's got the cues.
Anyway, we will see you after this small break, and hopefully there won't be any audio issues, so there shouldn't be anything in there. Fingers crossed. Did you hear that great music for the intro, and later on in the episode, the outro as well? And we're wondering where you could listen to music by the person who made that? Well, have I got some news for you. It is done by a person named Issa, who is a great friend of the show. She made it for us, and you can check out more of her music at industrystandardaudio.bandcamp.com. And then once again, that's industrystandardaudio.bandcamp.com. Check her out. She does some really cool stuff. And like I said, friend of the show. She's great. All right, so we're back from watching episode 3. What was it called? Ultrasonic?
Ultrasonic.
This episode, it was a little different than the other episodes.
This was a heavy one.
I loved it.
It's really good. I really liked it, but ooh boy, this isn't like a funny Saturday morning cartoon.
Which is weird because it's the one that's called Sonic Saturday Morning.
Yeah.
I mean, no, it's got a lot of humor. This episode didn't have.
It's got jokes.
Much.
I was actually thinking about this earlier today. So Sonic, The Adventures of is sort of like a Looney Tunes vibe to it.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, maybe a little more plot to the episode, but it's sort of like a silly, funny cartoon.
I mean, they run around like Dr. Seuss backgrounds.
Yeah. No, and like anvils and shit, and just a lot of jokes.
Yeah.
But this one is a little more, just to compare it to like a similar cartoon, or at least one from when I was a kid, like Batman the Animated Series. Like, that show's not really funny. It's a cartoon show.
And it has funny moments.
It has funny moments, and it's on, like, the Saturday morning cartoon block, but it's not...
Batman the Animated Series, actually, for a really long time, wasn't. It was the first, I think it was the first animated show that got to a primetime slot.
Really?
Yeah, I think it started at the cartoon slots, time-wise. But yeah, just fun fact. And then I think a lot of the DC shows following, like Superman, that was on primetime. I think Justice League for quite a while.
Damn.
Was on primetime television, which is kind of neat. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's quite as serious as Batman the Animated Series, but like
this episode,
yeah.
So you want to run our hedgehogs through the plot?
Yeah, that's what we're calling them. Anyway, so yeah, let's start at the beginning. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. So it opens in the middle of a mission where they've sort of snuck into some air vents, Sonic and Sally, and they're trying to get some roboticization data.
Yeah, I think they're trying to like either shut down the roboticizer or get data on it to eventually shut it down. Have we covered what the roboticizer is?
I don't think. Well, the show touches on it in this episode.
Well, if you haven't been following along with it on watching the show, you're just listening to us for our hilarious antics.
They're so good.
There's our
cool South Park humor.
So edgy.
Anyway,
the roboticizer is a thing that it's like a machine that Robotnik sticks like living organisms in, and then hits a button, and then it turns them into like robot versions of them that are like loyal to Robotnik.
Yeah, it's how he gets rid of all the Mobians.
Yeah. It's as we later learn, all our main characters' families have been kidnapped and roboticized by Robotnik.
Well, yeah, that's why like they're the freedom fighters. They're the like last. Yeah, it's bleak.
I said it was a grim one, folks.
The show has a bleak outlook, but I mean it's not a bleak outlook. It's a hopeful outlook, but it
is a bleak setup.
It's a bleak setting.
Yeah,
it really is. I mean it's sort of a post-apocalypse sort of situation, except instead of destroying, it sort of destroyed the natural world. As far as we see in the show, it's like mostly city,
like mostly like industrial sector, basically.
Yeah. Because there aren't besides.
What is Robotnik like? What's his end? What's he trying to do? Just take over the whole world?
Yeah.
Huh.
I think he just wants to rule the world. I mean, I'm not sure if we learn any more in the cartoon.
He's doing a great job.
But yeah, I think at least in the earlier bits of the comics, he's just evil. He's just evil to be evil.
Nuanced.
Yeah, and then a little spoiler for the comic. Later on, there's another Eggman from a different dimension who fucking kills him and is Eggman but eviler and space.
Eggman Nega?
No,
that's a different...
long before him.
Kintober?
No, he's a good one in this
okay.
In the Archie comics. Although Kintober in the Fleetway comics is Eggman. Anyway, we're not talking about the comics, folks.
Oh my god. I'm doing like a shocked Home Alone face. The audience can't see.
So we open up on that, and Snively is the one who's working with the machines because Eggman doesn't do anything, and they get spotted.
He pets his bird.
He pets his bird.
Yeah.
They get spotted, and a cool.
Oh, we have a weird moment of like Sonic being extremely vain.
Oh yeah. He pulls out a mirror that he was carrying around his backpack.
He's like fucking. I don't remember what specifically it was, but it was just like
he says it's
you're as brilliant as I am handsome or something like that.
No, it's something. It's close to that. It's with your brains and my good looks.
Right.
We can do anything.
And then she's like, yeah, that's half true. And he's like, which part? And she's like, I think you fucking know. And he's like, oh yeah, my sweet looks. And then he pulls a mirror out of his backpack and is just like, I'm so fucking good. We gotta get a good old Chekhov's mirror there.
Yeah, put a pin in that. Put a pin on that mirror. Because it's gonna come back. Just like every other thing that's been shown off at the beginning of one of these episodes.
That's writing, baby.
Hey. Anyway, so they get spotted, and the vents start filling with fire extinguisher
Snively
foam?
hits like the fire alarm. Which fills the vents up with foam.
It's a little weird. That's a weird way to do it.
I mean, if there's a fire in the vents, which there's admittedly like a lot of wires and stuff in those vents, they're not
enough.
like purely air vents. But anyway, they fill up with foam, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna drown and die if we don't get out of here."
So they
bolt towards like the end where there's like a cover, and they like ram up against it, and it's looking really hopeless. But they knock it off, and then they're like 100 feet up in the air.
And they're getting shot at by the SWAT bots who had been told, and Sonic takes Sally and jumps into all of the foam that has now landed beneath them, and they sort of get away to their getaway vehicle, which is like a floating disc. I forget exactly what they call it, but it's essentially just like a disc with a handlebar, no seats, and a touchpad to control it. Okay, Eggman, whatever. Sorry, Robotnik.
He couldn't make it egg-shaped, so he didn't really give a shit.
So, there's this chase scene, which was quite long now that I'm thinking about it, but it was neat. It was fun. We get a lot of fun shots of the city, which I've previously said I enjoy that a lot. I think the designs there are really, really cool. Banter between Sonic and Sally. I don't think anything super important, but it's mostly Sonic being like really full of himself, and then immediately fucking up.
He's being quite vain this episode. It's seems out of character, but
it seems very in character for Sonic to be full of himself.
Yeah,
at
least this Sonic.
Well, the Sonic I'm used to, he's very like full of himself and sometimes energetic. And he very much believes that, he just can do the things he does because he is Sonic the Hedgehog. But he keeps fucking up. And it also, shows, contrasted to the rest of the episode, is Sonic acts like this, but he has feelings, which was sort of neat. But they say that they're trying to get to a rendezvous point, which they do, and it's revealed that Antoine, Rotor, and Bunny are also here. They were doing something. It doesn't really matter. But when they get there, they see a train being loaded up with roboticized Mobians and some SWAT bots. And Sonic sees one roboticized Mobian and claims that it's his Uncle Chuck.
I know this character from the comics.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, no, I read a couple Sonic comics as a kid, and I was like, oh, hey, it's Uncle Chuck. And then, he's in this cartoon, which you tell me came first. The comics are loosely based on this cartoon.
Yeah, so I'll talk about it a little later, but I did some research, and I always thought that the comics were a continuation canonically from the cartoon, but maybe they aren't, but we'll get to that in a little bit.
We'll solve that mystery.
We probably won't. But we'll talk about it. And Sonic is really gung-ho about getting Uncle Chuck back, and they say, well, we have to wait because there's a lot of SWAT bots here, and we're just being shot at. And they see that the train is going towards the crystal mines.
It's got a big, flashing sign on the side.
Big neon
that says the crystal mines.
That train can only sort of be used for one destination. It's not an LCD that, lights that you see on
it
bus.
looks like a neon sign.
Which is very sort of in tone for Robotnik. But, it's pretty goofy. And they decide to follow it there to see if they can get Uncle Chuck where he's being put to. And it cuts to them doing that, I believe. I don't think there's anything else in between there.
I don't think there's anything else. Yeah, we see Uncle Chuck, the roboticized Mobians, and some SWAT bots piling into an elevator that is like going down into the mines. And Sonic runs up and grabs Uncle Chuck, who is thankfully last in line, and just like yanks him away as the door like slams shut and the elevator just goes.
Well, I will point out, I found it, I laughed at this, in the way it's animated. I think it's supposed to be what you said. I think that's supposed to be the vibe we're getting. But before Sonic gets to Uncle Chuck, the door has closed.
Yeah.
It's like they mismeasured or something. Because it's revealed later that everything's like automatic. The elevator only goes at certain time periods.
Yeah.
Which lore, I guess. Interesting. But yeah, I think it's supposed to be, Sonic pulls him in. And Uncle Chuck is terrifyingly like a zombie. He's like growling.
He's like got sharp teeth and is growling and is like feral.
Yeah.
Which I guess, being roboticized does that. I don't know. Either way, the like roboticized, mind-controlled Uncle Chuck runs and hits like an alarm button.
Which, so they...
I don't remember if that did anything, did it?
Yeah, so that's the weird part. They sort of... Bunny comes and grabs him and holds him down because Bunny is shown throughout this episode to be very strong.
Robot arm.
If she was on a Sonic Heroes team, she'd be the power one.
You nerd, I love you.
I'm right though.
Don't at me.
Although she's also the one who can fly, so I don't think she can. Maybe she can't fly in the cartoon, but in the comics she can. She just has rockets in her feet.
Dope.
Anyway.
Like wrestles him over like under a bridge or something.
The bridge where they were hiding from.
And then Sonic's just pleading with Uncle Chuck.
Well, they just turn off the alarm. So the alarm did go off, but no one ever comes to check that out. Safety is not of highest priority.
We just saw an elevator door slam shut while like the last worker hadn't gotten in yet.
Yeah.
So clearly this automation is just not working out perfectly.
When you have only two human beings, two like sentient people running, I guess, the entire world. There's gonna be
some oversight.
Yeah,
we can automate this one, right?
Yeah. So there's some issues. There's some issues to be worked out.
There's some bugs. It's the beta.
And so they're like, there has to be some way. He's still growling. There has to be some way to like remind him, or to de-roboticize him is what they're thinking. And then Sally is like, well, a lot of what roboticization isn't known yet. They don't know a lot about it, which probably explains the mission at the beginning. But she says maybe if we show him this power ring, he'll remember. And we're like, okay.
I assumed when I saw that, it's just like, the sort of magic properties of the power ring. They're sort of like the MacGuffin of this.
Yeah.
And they can do whatever we need them to do in the episode. They make Sonic run fast. They do whatever. But I guess it is just like Sonic. He hands it to Chuck, and he's like, oh, look, it's the power rings you invented for me.
Yeah, and he says for me, too.
Yeah.
So it is revealed, we were asking about it last episode, it is revealed in this episode that Uncle Chuck, I guess, is the one who invented the power rings. And this is what I was talking about earlier with, is the comic book canonical to the cartoon? Is it like a canonical sequel? Or is it use the same setting and characters? Because I did some looking around, because it's been a while since I've read through the comic books, although I might be, again, soon. A wink, wink, unless I'm too lazy. Wink, wink. But keep an eye out on maybe
you might do something
YouTube
with the
channel.
comics.
Yeah. Just as an excuse to read them. But the comic books, much later, this was years later, say that the rings are something else, and that the reason that they're in the lake is for an entirely different reason. Now, that could just be a retcon that the comic did, seeing how many years later it was, but I found that kind of weird. So yeah, Chuck is back to normal.
They show him the ring,
yeah, he's acting normal.
He suddenly is just like, oh, Sonny, it's you. And yeah, it's actually a very touching scene. Yeah,
like,
where he says hi to everyone who's there. It's just like, wow, Princess Sally, Rotor, Bunny, and then just ices out Antoine.
Yeah, at first.
We laughed pretty hard. It's just like, wow, everyone's here. And he just passes over Antoine completely. But then, yeah, like a minute or so later, Antoine's
says
like,
something.
hello, bonjour, Uncle Chuck, or whatever.
He says like Dr. Hedgehog or something, or Professor Hedgehog.
Oh, maybe.
Which is kind of strange. I guess he invented the power rings.
Well, Antoine also just talks weird.
That's
he
true.
says, in an attempt to say bingo later, he says gringo.
Which is that's a different thing. Sonic,
Yeah,
Antoine rather.
Antoine. He's shown to just sort of, and he gets like phrases. He like mixes up words.
He tries to say piece of cake and he says slice of pie in this episode. So Antoine doesn't have the firmest grasp on the English language.
It's his second language. I don't blame him. I only know one language, so
no, fair enough.
I can't harp on him too much.
Good on Antoine. It's kind of weird that French even exists. It's weird that English exists.
It's weird that France exists.
I don't think it does. Is the weirder part.
Huh.
Anyway,
Uncle Chuck's back to normal.
Yeah.
Ish. Well, yeah, he's still a robot, but he's being nice.
Yeah, his mind is back. And they're like, okay, Uncle Chuck, we gotta get you back to Knothole. And Uncle Chuck says that there's something more important than him that needs to be done. And they're like, well, okay, yeah, let's go see.
So Bunny rips open the elevator door.
Yeah, so this is where Uncle Chuck tells us that the elevators are automated and that the doors aren't going to open. And once again,
until the next shift, he says.
Yeah. So this is like the elevator into the actual crystal mines.
Yeah.
And once again, we're shown that Bunny is very strong as she, tears open this locked elevator door, and they ride the cables down.
This is a small detail. Like, first Chuck goes down, he's got robot hands, and they see us sliding down a cable, and then
cable,
Sonic goes down. He's always wearing gloves.
Yeah.
I assume he's like a germaphobe or something. And then we see Sally go down next, and she's just, her bare hands, just riding this cable down.
Yeah, bare everything else too, but
it's true. She wears what, like a neckerchief, and that's it for clothing.
She wears a small jacket, but it's open. In like however many years, when Archie rebooted it, that became a big thing because they were like, "Whoa, we're rebooting the series. Let's close her vest," which is fine. She looks good either way. But
well, yeah, she rides down that cable, and I just couldn't help but think like, "Ooh, poor fingers."
Yeah, it's rough.
They ride down to the crystal mines, and then what happens next?
Yeah, so Chuck walks them out, and they see this big crystal that has a whole bunch of ropes tied to it, and he says that Eggman, to sort of substitute his oil use.
Do they say oil?
Yeah, they specifically say oil. He's running out of oil.
Really?
Yeah, a little too real. 90s.
Oh boy. Anyway, yeah, this big magic and I was like, is that a Chaos Emerald? It's not a Chaos Emerald.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we see the Chaos Emeralds in the cartoon.
I assume we do at some point. We gotta.
I haven't watched it in a very long time. Chuck says, yeah, there's this big crystal, and if Robotnik takes it, it's going to destroy the ecosystem of Mobius. And that's what they have to go do. So they have to split up between two teams. One will be with Chuck, and they'll deal with cutting the crystal, and one will go up to the command center, and or the control center, and I forget exactly why they need to go there. Is it to cut off communications?
I think it's to cut off communications and to limit backup. I think it is.
Yeah, I think that's... Yeah. I think you're right. Because I remember them saying, communications are cut off. Oh, and they cut everything except emergency power.
Gotcha. Okay. But anyway, Chuck takes him, and he's like, "All right, we gotta get this thing." And this really sick dragon robot fucking rolls out.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, say hello to the strongest bot here, or the strongest bot around." And yeah, it's like a lizard dragon thing on treads.
It's like a digging mechanism. It like rears up its head and like bites into the earth, and they use it as a digging tool. But anyway, the only way inside it to its controls is through its mouth, I guess. So yeah, Chuck like jumps off of it and then just gets munched by it. And Sally and Sonic or not Sally, but Bunny.
It's Sonic and Bunny.
Sonic and Bunny are like, holy crap! Do we have to do that? That's terrifying. And then they don't. They just kind of like swing underneath its top jaw into its mouth.
Yeah.
From the top of its head.
And then they don't immediately go down its throat, which is kind of weird.
I thought they're like freaking out in there and just like, oh, what do we do? Oh no! And then Bunny like again shows her super strength and like pries its mouth open
and
for
locks
a bit.
it there too, which is weird. It kind of like shuts it down for a while. Maybe it's because it didn't bite. It like ate the earth with Chuck, so
Fair
maybe
enough.
it doesn't open the back of its throat.
I guess.
And at the same time, a little bit before that, we see some distraction with Sonic distracting a robot so that Sally, Rotor, and Antoine can go up to the control
when he
center.
like throws the muffin at it or whatever?
I think it's supposed to be a big screw, but it looks exactly like a techno muffin.
He throws a muffin. It hits the robot's head and makes no sound. Which leads me to further believe that that's a muffin. That was his lunch from his backpack.
And we get the payoff.
It fires a laser at him, and he pulls out the mirror, Chekhov's mirror, and he bounces it off and hits the robot, and then they run into a door, I think.
So, yeah, the team that's going up to the control center runs in, and it closes, and Sonic is still there, and then another SWAT bot sees, and Sonic is standing with his back to the door, and the SWAT bot shoots a laser at Sonic, and Sonic dodges it, and the laser hits the door, and the door also reflects.
Yeah, it reflects the laser back and destroys the SWAT bot.
Why you
are
make
these
your
like
doors...
a reflective surface, especially when you have so many dudes shooting lasers all over?
It just said that the mirror reflects lasers. Are these mirror-coated elevator doors?
I guess.
What is this, a mall?
Robotnik wanted to be a little showy, you know? It's sure.
I mean, he is very showy.
He's a showy guy. He makes everything shaped like eggs for some reason, despite being named Robotnik.
I mean, he doesn't in this show. Not really.
Well, a lot of egg-shaped buildings at the start.
I think it's just supposed to be like... I don't think it's supposed to be egg-shaped.
They're like future domes, and they look a little eggy. Maybe they're not intentionally eggy, but
I just don't think intentionally, because I don't think a lot of people back in the day knew that his name was Eggman.
Gotcha.
But I mean, these are people who probably worked closely with Sega, so they might have. So yeah, we see that, and then the dinosaur stuff happens after that scene, and then it cuts to Sally's team. And they're hiding under some desks as a robot
operates like the security.
Yeah, he's like the security guy. He has like a big dome for a head with cameras in it. He looks really cool, and he also kind of looks similar to a robot that we see in Sonic X pretty early on. Not exactly the same, but similar. He has like a very similar body and head. But in Sonic X, he has like missiles for arms. Anyway, I just thought that was neat.
Cool. Yeah. Well, for some reason, this robot's power switch is just like on the back of his right shin.
Yeah, it's like at the bottom of his foot.
It's this big blinking like light.
Yeah.
Power switch. Like
it looks like an insert coin button on a fucking arcade machine.
Oh my god, it does. And yeah, they have to try and press this, but
so they try and press it and they miss. And Rotor's
like, I'll distract it. You get the button, Sally. And
Rotor's
this goes
like, over here.
This goes wrong. The robot grabs Rotor by the wrist and like lifts him up like very violently.
Yeah.
And then a gun comes out of its mouth, like inches from Rotor's face. Like, this dude is about to get wasted.
Yeah.
And he's like, Sally, please.
And just in the nick of time, Sally presses the button. Gets Rotor out of there. Thank God.
It's just, I don't want Rotor to die. He's a good dude.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah, that'd be a heavy episode. Rotor dies.
A heavier episode than this was.
And they get to do what they were up there to do, cut off communications and power. And we cut back to the inside of this dinosaur robot. And once again, there's a scene showing that Bunny is very strong, very powerful.
Oh yeah, there's a big switch they gotta hit to turn it off. And Chuck's like, can't do it. And Bunny's like, just does it like it's...
Chuck the robot.
Yeah.
Like, we know that these robots are supposed to be powerful.
Yeah.
And
Bunny is partially roboticized. That's why she's got the robot arms and legs, yeah?
Yeah.
But yeah, just like effortlessly, like it's nothing. Just flips that switch.
Yeah. And then Chuck gets to working on making it work for them. We don't really get into the specifics of that.
When he does that, its eyes are no longer glowing red; they're glowing green now because he's good.
Yeah,
he's a good dragon tank robot.
Yeah. That's how you can tell if the robot's eyes are glowing anything but green, it's evil.
Yeah.
If it's glowing green, it's good. And then so they get control of this thing and they start riding it over to the big crystal, and it starts being lifted out. Lifted out of the mine, as it was. That's why
it's all the ropes were on it. Yeah, the big crane pulling it up.
And they go to grab the rope with its tiny clamp arms, and SWAT bots are like shooting ropes at the arm.
There's
and they, hold it down.
100 SWAT bots just
No
wrapping. No
wonder they don't want backup coming.
This thing in grappling hooks and just like pulling it down, and it's almost sad just to see this robot get like hogtied. Like I know it's like not even sentient, like it's just a tool, but like
it does a really good job this episode of showing like, oh yeah, these guys are outnumbered, like vastly outnumbered and outpowered.
But yeah, so they wrap all these wires around it, and it is just struggling. It cannot move. They're like, it's hopeless, and Chuck's like, use the eye lasers.
Well, yeah, it comes out of like its nose.
Oh yeah, like the nose laser,
which is kind of weird. But yeah, it's supposed to be a mining laser. Yeah, what it is.
And they shoot the crystal hoping to destroy it.
So yeah, he's like,
which I guess is better than Robotnik having it.
So yeah, I wanted to talk about that. So they're worried about them removing the crystal because that would destroy the ecosystem. And then Chuck is like, okay, well, if we can't stop them from taking it, then let's destroy it. Wouldn't that also destroy the ecosystem? Or maybe it's the fact that it's a crystal, so you would still have the same amount of crystal mass. I guess the same
pieces would be there, yeah, even if it's broken, but Robotnik, like, sucking the juice out of it.
Yeah, Robotnik's probably going to, like, destroy it in a way of, like, taking all of its energy, and I assume that's what the important thing is.
But they shoot a laser at it, hoping to destroy it, and it just absorbs it.
Yeah, for whatever reason.
Magic. I'm sure...
It's called an energy crystal.
I hope this will be explained. I would like to see some sort of continuity and lore.
Read the comics.
I would like in this cartoon series that we're doing a podcast about. But then they're like, all right, shoot the ropes. And they do shoot one of the ropes.
Yeah, well, so then they're like, shoot the ropes, and then there's more scenes of SWAT bots shooting more ropes at the robot. And they're like, okay, we have one shot to do this. And they just barely do it, and they shoot a rope, and then it comes crashing down.
It shatters, like it is broken.
Yeah, as the crystal falls, it breaks, and then they also destroy the big crane that was on that. And they're like, okay, we're good to go. And they hop out of the thing, and then at the same time, it cuts to Sally's little group, and they're like, okay, yep, they're good, and they all start trying to run away. There's a little chase scene with all the SWAT bots chasing Sonic and Chuck and Bunny, and they run to like a minecart and hide in that, and then Sally opens up the elevator behind them, and they just barely make it into the elevator before the SWAT bots get there. And then they're running to get to the
train.
Yeah, the train that they came in on, and they're like, okay, let's get back to Knothole.
And then Chuck collapses.
Yeah, Chuck collapses. And is like, and he had one headache before. We didn't touch on that.
Oh, yeah. There was just a moment where he was just like, and Sonic's like, yo, you okay? And he's like, yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. We don't have time.
Yeah. And, yeah, Chuck collapses, and he's, like, grasping his head, and hands Sonic the power ring that he gave him. And Sonic is like, Chuck, are you okay?
We gotta get you back to Knothole. And Chuck's like, it's too late.
It's too late for me, Sonic. And Sonic is like, wait, no,
no, I'm not leaving you behind. I love you.
Yeah,
you're
like
my
he's
uncle.
Very sad.
He's really, really torn up about this, and he's like dead set on like, I'm not leaving you behind. And then Chuck
turns his head around from his palms,
and he's like feral again. He's
attacking Sonic,
growling, and Sonic's just like, let's get you back to Knothole. Everyone is like, no, he's gonna kill us. And they drag Sonic away.
Yeah, Bunny has to drag Sonic.
Screaming. He is like, no! And they toss him into the train as the train speeds off.
Yeah.
And then Chuck, sends a drone after it.
Yeah, one of the flying things. Yeah, and the episode then cuts to the inside of the train, where, yeah, Sally.
This is why we said it was grim, because this is how the episode ends. They're consoling Sonic, who is crying. He is torn up.
Well, he's sitting there kind of quietly crying, yeah. And Sally is like, well, hey, we downloaded some of that robotization data. You know, one day we're going to be able to come back and just, like, unroboticize him permanently.
And then Rotor's like, yeah, and all our families, too. And then Sonic cries and is very sad, and the episode ends.
Yeah, the episode ends on that Rotor line. Yeah. But everyone does console Sonic.
The last frame is just Sonic fucking, like, sobbing. Like,
yeah,
he's real oof. And we just kind of made the joke after that of just like, Mom, my hedgehog cartoon was very sad. you did the thing, the kid like running down the hall, like screaming.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's
oof. That is grim. Like we're gonna at some point we're gonna run out of episodes of this show, and we're gonna switch to the adventures of. Probably. Maybe. I don't know. We don't know what we're going to do next. No promises on that. Probably going to hit the adventures of eventually.
Yes.
Which is, yeah, like Honk Honk, Looney Tunes, Anvil, and... Oh, the robot got exploded, but his like, mouth is still there, and he's talking. This is just like, yeah, your uncle might be, like, dead forever, Sonic, but maybe not.
Oh, well, don't worry, Sonic. He's not dead. He's just a slave.
Oh, boy.
And, like, I guess his mind is still in there. Like, he just needs to be reminded.
It seems like he had enough willpower to sort of, like, pull through this very, very momentarily.
Yeah, with help.
With help, and it was sort of a constant battle for him. Wow, this is dark. This is heavy.
Yeah.
This is a heavy show.
I mean, that's kind of why it's what drew me into... You know, this cartoon and the comics. And I feel like for a lot of other people, too.
I feel the same way. Yeah, no, I read like I said, I read some comics as a kid, and I was like, this is really cool. This is like it's Sonic, but it's serious storyline.
Yeah, and I mean, it's that kind of storytelling that makes you really understand that. Yeah, when you're looking from the outside in, especially with a comic that long, you know, you see a lot of out of context stuff, and it's like, well, yeah, that's fucking ridiculous that a Sonic the Hedgehog comic would do that, but it's because it came from that kind of storytelling, and like you're supposed to have been with it for this amount of time, and that it sort of lets you suspend your disbelief a little.
Escalated to that point, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong, sometimes it did get out of hand, and if you don't do those kinds of stories well, then they suck. But
yeah, no, out of context, the comic panels of Sonic crying in the rain, where it looks like he's being showered with cum, they look a little sad.
Now the art style of the Sonic comics is a different story. There's a lot of them, and a lot of them are weird and not to a lot of people's taste.
I listen. I like these comics. I'm not shitting on them or anything. I've seen multiple panels where Sonic is in the rain and it looks like he's being showered with cum.
A lot of people have trouble drawing rain. It's not just the Sonic comic.
No, I get it. Rain is hard. It's just moving on.
Anyway, so yeah, that was episode 3. We hope to see you next week. Yeah, we really liked this episode. Hopefully the next one's just as good.
Make sure you follow us on Twitter. It's at SatAMHedgehogs.
Yep.
Definitely posting some stuff on there.
Hopefully I'll be getting a YouTube up and running with something that you might be able to hit up. Hope it should be SatAMHedgehogs over there. So yeah, and there might be some comic related stuff eventually going up there.
Game stuff, maybe.
Maybe just me.
Who knows?
Dicking around playing Sonic games.
We don't know just yet. So keep your eyes peeled and just be more of us.
Yeah, I mean, right now the YouTube is probably sort of an open project. Sort of. There's not going to be an upload schedule over there yet, and if there is, you'll hear about it here or on the Twitter.
If you want to check me out and my content, if you like my voice and sort of the energy that I bring to this table, you can check me out at youtube.com/radnat. I have a comedy video game series there. Put a lot of work into it. I think it turns out pretty good. I was actually just watching some of my old episodes earlier, and I was like, hey, I'm pretty fucking funny. Yeah, no, please check me out. Thank you all so much for listening. This is our first podcast, third episode of our first time just trying this. So
yeah,
really,
so hopefully you're liking it.
Really appreciate, especially you early jumpers on. Thank you so much. It means the world to us.
All right. And as we say at the end of every episode, apparently, this is our thing now.
We gotta do it.
All right.
Gotta juice!